Everybody, it is that panda guy, and I'm here again with another video. And today we are going through Chun, and I do want to thank. I know I just did it in the other video, but I do want to thank Tree, Mr. Brain, and Starcraft once again because they are really helpful. They were really helpful with these two videos, just because I was able to probe their brains a bit and to give me a better, thought on these two heroes. Because honestly, it's good to have other experienced players to talk with and kind of just make me understand, a lot more about just the heroes in general. So I do want to thank those two really quick. But today we're going to be looking at Chun, or sorry, those three. And today we're going to be looking at Chun, kind of all of her skills and maybe a bit of her talent build. I probably build her exact same as maybe Lewis, because I think like their talent, well, not this one, but if I was to look at his field tree, I would definitely build her like this with her field tree probably. And, I just kind of wanted to show that because I know some people might want, a field build for her. But yeah, we're going to hop into just talking about her skills. So I do want to talk about her first skill. So her first skill deals damage to two enemies in a straight line. Damage factor is 3.6k, can go all the way up to 12,000. And after, awakening her, that can go all the way up to 13,000. She's similar to Jaden, whereas if you put her as a support hero, her skill damage will actually be decreased into half of that, which honestly, in her case, I don't really mind as much, especially for the fact that I would lead with her compared to Jaden, whereas Jaden has an attack tree, which makes it harder for you and like less appealing for you to lead with him. But she has a skill tree, she has her range tree, everything that I need is there. So I do think that this hero is going to be really good. But basically, she has a pretty high skill damage, but it is a single target skill damage, besides the fact that, maybe hits two enemies in a straight line, which is pretty hard to do unless you're in a, I would say, murder ball, because there would be a ton of marches around and it'd be easier to hit an enemy that's like in a straight line from that. So I really think that this is going to be mostly a single target hero, and if it does hit one target, it increases the damage by 20%, so that is pretty nice. And we're going to now hop into the second skill. When taking skill damage, it restores 35 rage instantly. This can be increased to 100 rage. There is a 10% chance to inflict silence on the attacker for 3 seconds. This effect triggers once every 6 seconds. And it says this effect triggers once every 6 seconds, but from what I infer from this, I'm going to be assuming that both of the skills, the 100 rage, as well as the, trigger of the silence skill, which can also be increased by 50%, by the way, because it'll increase like the chance to inflict it by up to 50%, sorry, if you max this at level 5, as well as the 100% rage recovery from taking skill damage. So that's pretty interesting. But I'm assuming that this effect that triggers only once every 6 seconds are both of them, meaning that I'm assuming that you can't just take 5 hits of rage, sorry, of skill damage and recover 500 rage right in a second, right? So it's going to be assumed that you can only recover 100 rage every 6 seconds maximum off like this skill at least, right? As well as the silence skill, which from what I've been told, I wasn't sure because, this is actually a skill that comes from Rise of Kingdoms, but from what I've been told, this should actually stop someone's skill from triggering. So basically, if your rage is at 100, or sorry, 1,000, and it's ready to trigger, what's going to happen is it's going to be stuck at that for 3 seconds if this silent actually triggers onto the attacker. So like they're not going to be able to get off their skill, and that is actually massive. I think this is going to be huge. And I was talking to Tree, but since it says this effect triggers once every 6 seconds, it's actually really well because most heroes in general like trigger their skills about every 6 seconds. So this will probably cuck them every single time, right? Like you're gonna be just really cucking them from getting these skill drops off. So I think this skill is actually going to be super impactful, as well as the fact that it just recovers rage. And I always say this, but rage is super important. I also want to mention that I do see this leader leading Lewis, like I really do, and I think I might replace Lee as the person who's leading Lewis with Chun. I definitely think that this could be pretty massive. But yeah, we're gonna look at her third skill. So when in battle, increases range squad HP by 6% and attack by 6%, and both of those can be increased all the way up to 20% if you get the skill to level 5. And I am assuming that when it says win in battle, I'm gonna guess that running away, for example, and taking shots from behind, like if you're getting cheap shot from behind, that's not considered battle, and maybe that's why it says win in battle. Because I don't really, because I mean, I only see this really being effective in battle, right? Like, only time you would really have these percents would be in battle, right? Or need them would be in battle. So I'm assuming that's what it means, unless I'm like crazy. But yeah, we're gonna look at her last skill now. So also, I do want to kind of mention that that's like a 40%. Like if you add those two together, so that's 20% HP and 20% squad attack. So that is pretty massive, and those are some pretty big numbers. Now we're looking at our last thing. So when leading ranged squads, only increases the skill damage by 7.5%, and it can be increased all the way up to 25%, and that is insane. That is insane to increase skill damage by 25%. And this is one reason that I'm saying, like, having her lead Lewis. Like, there are multiple reasons, one being that you don't want to have her as a support because obviously her skill damage is cut in half. Lewis, like, doesn't really lose out on being a support, so that's pretty good. Also, she just increases range in general, right? Like, she increases the stats as well as leading. When she's only leading range squads, this increases the skill damage by 7.5%. And when maxed out at level 5, this skill damage increases by 25%. And like I always say this, but skill damage is massive. And Luce's skill damage is pretty like massive as well as hers. Her skill damage is pretty big when you really look at it. So both of them having their skill damage increased by 25% will be insane, as well as travel speed increased by 30%. If you max it out at level 5, it starts at 9%, and then it goes all the way up to 30%. But I do think that this hero will be pretty decent. I don't think that this hero is going to be like insane, right? Like, I don't think it's going to make or break the game, but I do think that this hero is going to be really effective, really good, and I do want to lead Lewis with Chun. So I do think that those two are going to be a really good duo, and I do think that this hero is pretty good. I am really excited to actually get her and hopefully tier her up. And I'm actually going to look at her skills real quick to tell you guys what order I might build them in. I'm honestly really conflicted, guys, about how I build her skills also. I'm sorry about that, because honestly, her skills look all equally appealing. And, I'm going to actually talk to some people, but I will give like a little say in how I build her skills, like off the bat. But I will put it in the comment section if I do change anything or if I think any different, because I am going to talk with some people. I'm going to message some players and see how they might build their skills. But I was looking at them, right? And, I do usually say that, rage or just skill damage, those are pretty important. So I do think that I would either build it in a... Okay, so I do want to mention that every hero, always upgrade their first skill first. Always upgrade their first skill first. I don't know why people don't do this, but like I'll see some people go like three levels on their first skill, then like 2 on the next or 3 on the next. I don't even know. Like, they don't max out their first skill. Always max out your first skill. But yeah, I would first go my first skill, maybe second, then fourth and third. But it's also like I'm missing out on 40% here if I do that. But it's also like I do really want that skill damage. So I either would go like 1, 2, 4, 3 or 1, 4, 2, 3. Because I think like I'm looking at this skill damage. I'm thinking this skill damage is insane, right? Like I think like having this skill damage will be nuts. Like, it's so hard, but I will put in the comment section if I do change anything or if I do settle on a number or like an order. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I do hope I helped you guys kind of understand a bit about this hero and how effective she might be or how like meta she might be. So I do thank you guys for watching, and that is it about the video. So peace out and have a good day, everybody.